Okay, hi
Hi,
everyone. First of all,
everyone.
happy to see all of you on the call. Thank you for making the time and thank you for keeping time. So, for our colleagues who will be joining us later, I think they'll find us on the way. My name is Margaret Kirabo Marketing and I'm your host today. And before we get into the details of today, allow me to briefly give you a recap from our episode 3 that happened last month. For those of you that missed, or those who attended and probably didn't have takeaways. Yeah. So our session last month was about navigating declining consumer purchasing power. Yeah. And the session brought together marketing and business professionals, which was actually led by a seasoned brand expert, Ms. Paul Elizabeth Chitimbo, who provided deep insights into how businesses can remain competitive in a challenging economic environment. Some of the key highlights from that webinar were that customers are shifting from smaller pack sizes for some brands, to smaller pack sizes for some brands, because that's where that's where they feel they can conveniently spend, or probably that's what they can afford. Then many are switching between brands. One moves from one brand and they hop onto another. Others are waiting for promotions before they purchase, because we know with promotions, either you're getting more for less or prices are being, cut down. And one of the key takeaways from that part of the presentation was that businesses must rethink how they position their products and services. Yeah. We also talked about discounting and were informed that discounting is actually not a sustainable strategy. Why? This is because with over reliance on discounts, it can hurt the business. Well, discounts may drive short-term sales. In the meantime, you are generating revenue, you're getting the money because of that discounted, period or promotion that you're running. It actually reduces your profitability in the long run. Why? Because it trains most of your customers to only buy when the prices drop, which you wouldn't want for your business. So instead, businesses were encouraged to focus on communicating their value. Yeah, which then led us into the next part of the presentation, which was the power of value creation. So we were asked a question: what keeps your customers coming back to you when you look at your brand or what you do, the product you offer, services you offer? What makes your customers come back? Yeah. And the simple answer was it is the value beyond the price. Yeah. Businesses were encouraged to offer better quality for the same price. Yeah. Focus on customer experience, provide convenience and accessibility while building emotional connections. So businesses need their clients to feel like they are one or they're together. Yeah. Not that the two are separate or different. Yes. In simple terms, people don't just buy products, they buy how you make them feel. Then we moved on to customer retention as a real growth strategy. And this was another key insight that was important. The strategies shared included having loyalty programs and small rewards for your customers in your different lines of business, being available at the right time and the right place for your customers, having consistent engagement with your customers, not to look at your customers as a one-off. Keep in touch with them. You never know what you find out from them. Yeah. And then using data to understand customer behavior. It was noted that it is cheaper and more powerful to keep a customer than to find a new one. So, for many of you that missed that session or had nothing to take away, maybe that's the one thing you will carry home today. It is cheaper and more powerful to keep a customer than to find a new one. Yeah. And then we talked about data driven decision making. where this discussion emphasized that businesses must move away from guesswork. Instead, use customer data to guide your decision making. Understand where your customers are. Don't just assume because your competition is targeting a certain market that probably that's where your customers are. Yeah. And then know their habits and preferences. Assumptions are not good. Data helps you stay relevant and visible where it matters the most. And lastly, we talked about competing in tough markets. This was for both large and small businesses, where our guest speaker shared that no matter the nature of your business, you need to focus on what makes you unique as a brand, because this is what then, in most cases, keeps your customers coming back to you. You need to deliver a consistent experience. You need to solve real customer problems. Yeah. And then you need to stay agile and adapt to changes. And her remarks as we were closing was even small brands can win by being intentional and customer focused. So we shouldn't go out there with the mentality of this is my business, this is what I want to do, or this is what I need to do. I need to first understand what is it that my customers need, what challenge of theirs do I need to solve. So that was our brief session that we had last month. I see many people have joined us. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. I see Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
Oh, he's on the call. Yes. Hi, Deborah.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes. So as we shall be diving into before we get into our presentation for today, I would like to share briefly about who Contivibe is, because these series are brought to us by Contivibe Media. Contivibe Media is a media and content production company that leverages digital marketing, content creation, and audience engagement. They have a wide range of products and services, or in this case, mainly services, where they do quite a lot, from documentaries to productions, designing, branding. It's quite a bit of a range, and they're very dynamic yet flexible. Yeah. So for all your design, branding, promotion needs, Contivibe Media. Sorry about that. Had a bit of a glitch. Yes. However, their main services are photography and videography for any kind of event, any kind of occasion. Contivibe is your plug. And for all those that are joining us, once again, my name is Margaret Kirabo Marketing. I'm the marketing officer at Kingdom Trading Limited. Kingdom Trading is a distribution company for high quality household essential items. And we are the official distributors of a premium baby care brand called Aiwibi from Australia. I don't know if anyone on the call has heard about it, but if you have, happy to know that you're here with me today. Yes. So our topic for today is how Ugandan SMEs can grow when visibility costs keep rising. But before we get into the discussion, allow me to introduce briefly our speaker for the day, who's actually already on the call with us. And she kept time, by the way. I see some of you are late. Our guest speaker kept time. So our guest speaker today is Miss Agnes Pamela Mubiru. She's the head of marketing, communications, and public relations at Cairo Bank Uganda. Agnes's banking experience spans over 19 years, serving in different capacities and financial institutions across marketing, products, sales, customer experience, and transactional banking. She is currently serving at Cairo Bank Uganda Limited as the head of marketing, communications, and public relations. In the product space, she has previously served as the manager products at I&M Bank Uganda Limited. Prior to that, as the manager products and channels at NCBA Bank Uganda Limited. She is a seasoned and well-rounded banker who has served as relationship manager at both NCBA, formerly CBA Bank Uganda Limited, and ABSA, formerly Barclays Bank Uganda Limited, having started as customer service officer at Citibank Uganda Limited. As a marketing and project professional, Agnes has served as marketing manager at CBA Bank. Her enthusiasm for marketing has extended to passing on knowledge and mentoring future marketers, serving as a tutor for Chartered Institute of Marketing, CIM, across the various levels and modules at Matt Abacus Business School. Wow. Agnes holds a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences from Makerere University, Kampala, a postgraduate diploma and master's degree in project planning and management from Uganda Management Institute, which is UMI, a postgraduate diploma in marketing, which is CIM from the UK. She is a professional marketer following the award of postgraduate diploma in professional marketing by the Chartered Institute of Marketing, CIM from the UK. She's a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, UK, Uganda Marketers Society. This is the marketing body that brings all marketers in the country together. The Public Relations Association of Uganda, which brings together all the PR practitioners in this country together. Christian Women Fellowship and Mothers Union. Areas of expertise. She's been in strategic marketing, brand management, product development and governance, customer experience and service excellence, project management. By the way, she's certified in project management, digital banking and channel management, market research and competitive intelligence, corporate relationship management, risk and revenue management, mentorship, training, and leadership. Everyone on the call today, please join me welcome our speaker with such an incredible and heavy CV, Miss Agnes Pamela Mubiru.
Thank you for that introduction. I don't want to say brief because I know when I pull out my CV, it's fine across a bit of 5 to 7, 8 pages. I'm very delighted to be with you this evening, and I want to greet all of you are joining the call this evening. I'm very grateful to Contivibe Media for this opportunity, but also as a marketer, I'm very passionate about on passing on knowledge to the rest and sharing knowledge, as well as ensuring that at least as we survive in this market, we are also learning from each other. So this evening, as the topic has been introduced, I'm going to talk about budgeting for the SMEs. How do you survive as an SME? And just allow me to share my presentation. Just a minute. I hope my screen is very clear, visible to all of you.
Yes,
Margaret,
yes,
confirm?
yes.
Okay.
On my side, it's okay. I see some thumbs up from the rest of the team.
Oh, that's great.
Okay,
And I'm
thank
very delighted to have as many people joining this evening, because I mean, in one way or another, many of us are running these SMEs, either intentionally or unintentionally.
you.
So
Yes.
most of the discussion is going to be on shaping the future of our industry, which is many businesses running under the SME segment. I'll skip this because it has already been shared. So our goals for today we need to understand who is an SME, because sometimes there's a confusion between who is an SME. Sometimes people are stretching it to a company, a business. So you're going to be able to understand in the Uganda context. So we'll look at redefining the marketing mindsets, where we'll be understanding the shift. We're trying to understand how to shift the perspective of marketing from a business expense to a high yield seed for growth. Then we'll go on to look at breaking the invisibility cycle. And here we'll be looking at identifying and overcoming the data, digital, and credibility gaps that keep Ugandan SMEs from scaling. We'll also look at how to master low-cost growth. Here we'll get information on how to equip you with actionable organic strategies like the rule of one and the WhatsApp sales engines that don't require massive budgets. And then finally, we'll be looking at building bankable systems. In other words, how do you demonstrate? I'll be able to show you how to demonstrate simple workflows and financial disciplines that turn a hustle into a bankable enterprise. Given that, yes, as a banker, I've heard of many instances where people say, my business got burnt, even my money was there. But as a bank, we are able to save you that hassle. On top of having a limited budget, we don't want you to hustle again, losing your money. So diving in, who is an SME in our Ugandan context? So in Uganda, a small and medium enterprises are generally defined by the Uganda Investment Authority, because they look at how much investment there is. So they're defined as businesses employing between 5 and 100 people. And they often have total assets ranging from UGX 10 million to UGX 360 million. And they contribute to roughly 99% of the country's business sector, where this includes the micro enterprises. So the small is further broken down into micro enterprises. And that's why we say that they are very crucial for economic growth, because many big businesses start off as either micro, then grow into small, then eventually medium, and expanding into the large companies that we have. So this SME classification, according to the Uganda Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Policy, the firms in here are classified based on employee count and total assets. Here we are looking at the land and buildings, not necessarily other machinery and other things that you've been able to inject in the business. So for purposes of micro enterprise, most cases employs 1 to 4. And many of these do not have any assets exceeding 10 million. So those small businesses that we have, you're making juice for your friend, people once in a while reach out to you. You have a bakery in one of your, maybe a room in your boys' quarters. Maybe you have some jewelry you're selling, you are falling in the category for micro enterprise. Then for small enterprises, here we are looking at you employing between 5 to 49 people. And the asset base ranges between 10 million to about 100 million. Okay. So here you have grown, you started expanding, you feel like you cannot actually run your business on your own. Then you look at employing people to actually support you. Especially that many of us do businesses alongside the 8 to 5 or corporate jobs. So sometimes we get stretched and then we are looking at other people to come in and support. For the medium enterprise, here there's employment of from 550 people to 100 people. And the asset base grows from 100 to about 360 million. And this is a classification according to Uganda Investment Authority. Where you see any of these, characteristics, 1 to 4, that is a micro, and they're trying to come up the curve. And we've seen many coming up through this. And just want to tell you of a story. Not a story per se, but the journey for capital shoppers. way back when I was joining secondary school, Capital Shoppers used to have a shop down in Nakasero Market. Definitely, if you've been to Nakasero Market, you know the lock-up shops that are there. They're about one door, then he expanded to 2 doors, then eventually he moved and now took off the entire stretch from one veranda to the other. Before we knew it, he had expanded and actually put up his own outlets within Nakasero. So where is Capital Shoppers right now? All of you can know the answer. So do not even undermine where you're starting from. You might be a micro enterprise today, but with the the energy and the enthusiasm that you display, I can assure you, you can actually grow beyond just the 10 million or even below 10 million to massive businesses. Shoppers now prides of buildings and, many businesses across. So how does an SME thrive with limited marketing budgets? Yeah, I know it's a very big pain. Many of us say, no, I cannot advertise. Sometimes you only look, who needs to know about me? I mean, I've sold cakes, I've sold jewelry, I have, made this and that. My people will know me. And all that is because we are in an environment where we have limited budgets. But that should not be a showstopper for you. There are different ways on how you can grow and even become visible without spending a lot. So growth isn't about the size of your budget, it's about the strength of your systems. So create systems, then you will see how your SME grows from just a one man show into 4, into 10, eventually into 100 plus people who are serving you. We all agree that there's also an issue around visibility. From this picture, all these are acting in capacities where they are running their own shops. Some of them might fall in categories of micro, some may be falling in the categories of small. Okay. So if you look at these two ladies who are doing hairdressing, in most cases we see hairdressing has more than one person. So they are basically moving into a stretch where they are saying, okay, we have the equipment where they're setting up a salon is also a heavy investment. You find these guys actually investing close to, 10, 12 million, depending on how sizable and the location of the salon is. So the visibility crisis is one of those that also SMEs affect. So it's not just, impacted with, so it's not just a marketing problem, but it's a fundamental bottleneck. We see SMEs contributing over 90% to the private sector. And that's roughly another contribution of about 25% of the GDP. But many of them remain invisible to the formal financial systems, to the regional markets and the global supply chains that could scale them up. And most of the times there are 3 reasons why many of these SMEs are actually not visible, in addition to the marketing issues that they already have within their space. The first one, many of the businesses operate as ghost businesses. The data invisibility is an issue. First and foremost, we operate informally. You will walk in and you may find that these guys have never registered anywhere. Maybe in instances where we have areas where the local councils are quite active, you'll find them probably registering because they need a trading license. But many of them will not be registered with URSP. Then they will not even have tax identification documentation, nothing. Because if they're not registered, even the URA or the taxman will not find them in their records. And finally, they will not have any formal accounting. They will know, so many people walked in and bought 10 kilos of sugar or so much. The lady is here counting how many, and that's it. She may not have been registering anywhere. Some of them will look at how much did I sell, how much is banked, and I mean how much is left in the drawer, how much do I take home, but none of them will have proper records of, where you have a ledger of entries and for debits, credits, expenses, not as formal as that way. The second crisis stems from the digital footprint gap. Many of them are relying solely on word of mouth or physical footprints. Some of these are not even branded outside. You will not even know which business is this. Sometimes you even want somebody to refer you and they'll tell you, you go to Mama so-and-so's shop, When you go to the other corner, you find the other kiosk, they'll be able to handle you. Because many of them, you will not ask them for business name and they'll actually give it to you. They're relying on word of mouth and that's how they will get their customers. The first customer will tell the next customer. The third crisis stems from the trust and credibility gap. The SMEs struggle with brand consistency. Probably today they're trading from here, they'll have this. Then tomorrow, some that doesn't work out, then they will change and now say, no, I think I can do this, So there's inconsistent pricing, unreliable delivery, and a lack of professional communication. Where professional communication is not the way they speak, but the way they're using the addresses for the businesses. I've told you, you find someone else, business trading as mama and sons, So which creates creates a perception of very high risk. Because if I'm looking at your business and I cannot even figure out your name, you're not registered, that means you're highly risky. Today I might find another name trading in the same room where I left you 2-3 months ago. So these three crises, or this stems really from, this brings about invisibility, reason being that the operations of our SMEs are not yet standardized across. So we need to give in a reality check, Why? Why is it that we have the crisis? There are three pillars that actually bring out the crisis. Some of them, or some of the SMEs have an issue around the expense versus seed. We are shifting from what does this cost today to what will this grow tomorrow. You see a gentleman with maize, with coffee, he might say, what is the cost of coffee today? Then he moves on, just changing his mind, flipping. He says, this is expensive now. But if you invest in coffee today, maybe that is what you have decided to, invest in. Just take in there and wait for the returns to come through. Then the post and pray trap. When I say post and pray, let me post and pray. Maybe they'll say and come and, buy from me. That is a trap that has actually left many of the SMEs struggling in the space they are in. And that is why social media is no longer free lunch. Initially, you do your WhatsApp business with nothing, but right now it requires you to put in $1 or $2 for you to be able to earn. For you to put a catalog on your WhatsApp business line, or you have to pay some few pennies for you to survive around there. Then the attention tax. Here is the navigating the skyrocketing cost of digital reach. If you're on TikTok, those guys have to be, creating content every now and then. Sometimes even lose track of what you can do as an individual. That means you have to bring in somebody to help you. You must seek attention every now and then. Every now and then, there must be something new that your people are looking out for you to be able to attract them to come to you. And as they are going through, as we are going through this crisis, we must put two things at the back of our minds, or as SME owners, or as people working in SMEs, or even as entrepreneurs looking at, putting up these businesses tomorrow. You must differentiate between marketing as an expense and marketing as a seed. When you look at it as an expense, you're going to think it's a drain on your cash flow. But when you look at it as a seed, you view it as an investment for future revenue. Invest today and earn tomorrow. We've seen some of those school mottos: invest in your child today, because they know once you invest in something, there's a return, especially if you're doing the correct investments, not the wrong ones. Please mark that. Then when you look at marketing as an expense, you think the first budget to be cut. You look at marketing as the first budget to be cut during a slump. If there's anything that goes south, right now is a looming room of fuel crisis. So people are saying, no, we're not going to do this and that. Let us first, we need the fuel to travel, but then we will reduce on how much we are putting into advertising, because, I mean, we need to work. The generators must function. But marketing, that can wait. And you're making a mistake, because when you take it as a seed, you should make sure that the last budget to be cut is marketing, so that you can get a recovery. Because if you have the generator running, production is happening, and no one knows about you, then you are digging your own grave, if I can put it that way, for lack of a better word. When you compare marketing as an expense, for you, the goal becomes spend as little as possible, because you're saying, no, this is an expense, I must spend as little as possible. Then at the end of the day, you're saying, okay, if I look at it as a seed, let me maximize the yield. I'll know I'll invest tomorrow, and I'll have the return on investment in the future. Because when you're investing, you're going to look at what are the short-term returns that is probably immediate, or within 3 months or 6 months. Then you look at the long-term returns, which are stretching to 12 months or even 2 years, 3 years, because you may not get the return today if you've just started and you expect that you're going to fly as high as, maybe capture shoppers. You need to put yourself somewhere. Then you look at the journey people have walked for you to also, mimic that journey and see how to survive. On the side of an expense, if you look at marketing as an expense, you think the results must be short-time survival. I have jewelry, I'm going to post on my status, I'm going to create a business WhatsApp account, I'm going to, move around and just tell people there are gatherings, that's short-term survival. The long-term brand equity should be your goal, because that's the result that you're going to be able to get the minute you invest in marketing as a seed. So you need to have a mindset shift from marketing as an expense to marketing as a seed. So where do we go from here? You're wondering, you've told us all this. What is it? What must we do at the end of the day? This is what we need to do. Some of the strategies that I have for you, or for us to, listen in this evening. The first strategy is high impact organic growth, where we are looking at quality over quantity. Sometimes marketing isn't about how many people see you. It's about how many of the right people take action. And to win without a big budget, as SMEs, we must move from shouting to solving. So do not just keep telling people, I have this, come and buy, I have this, come and buy, I have this, come and buy. No. What need are you solving for that customer? That should be at the back of our minds, not just making noise. You are telling guys, please come and buy from me. I have dresses, I have shoes. But I mean, you're going to tell them, guys, are you looking to look elegant? And, as you step into this event, reach out to me. They'll know, okay, somebody's speaking my language. You just say shoes, clothes, then what? What about it, So the number one rule is to stop trying to be everywhere at once. Someone is on TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook, radio, TV, everywhere. So focus your platform, especially where you see your audience most active. If you notice that your audience is so much active on the digitals, even look at which of those digitals are they active on. So you master one algorithm and build a deep connection with a smaller, engaged community where you will achieve better results than having a shallow presence across multiple sites. You're creating a YouTube channel, you're, everything, you're all over. Sometimes someone says, but I've not seen you on YouTube. Or you last posted the other time, you're like, oh my God, let me go back, then you forget this one. Just look for that one platform that is going to actually caption your audience. And then you get a smaller engaged community that will move you where we talk about a niche. Even look at your products. What niche are you putting out there? Many of us are on WhatsApp. WhatsApp has made life very easy. And it's a very good sales engine. So in markets like ours in Uganda, WhatsApp is the most powerful tool for closing deals. Unless you're on Wi-Fi, many people have never recovered from the time they closed Facebook. Okay? We are still there. People are like, oh, Facebook, no one can look for you on Facebook right now. So in terms of efficiency, use catalogs to display pricing and products instantly. We've seen people who post things and then there's no pricing and then you inbox them, or others even put up posts. For prices, kindly inbox. Let your customers see what you have and get it as soon as they make a decision. But then I'm going to inbox you, you're busy maybe responding to another 10 or 50 people. And before you know it, I've moved on. So as you're trying to make sure you're visible, using WhatsApp as your sales engine, efficiency, catalog, add prices. Because you might want to profile somebody and price them based on who they are, which might make you lose a sale. So just ensure that is at least not one of you. Then use it for connection. Use your status updates to show the human side of your business. I've seen many people even turning into, telling you about the do's and don'ts of some of the, especially in the space where they are. Others will tell you, maybe if it's jewelry, they will, give you tips on how to protect your jewelry, how to keep it, how to, store it. Others even will give you tips on on what should match what. So you just make the human side of your business to allow people to connect to your business. As you're updating the status, you put your products and then you're even putting a product and you're even defining it, you're even trying to match it around with something that is going to attract your customers. Then action it. You ensure every social media post leads to customers directly to a WhatsApp chat to shorten the path to purchase. As opposed to inbox, call me, ensure that at least there's that direct WhatsApp chat where the person will come and then there's that immediate response where now AI comes in to support with the chatbot. And the third impact organic growth will be under education over promotion, which is slightly similar to connection and status updates. So build trust by being a resource, not just a salesperson. So dedicate the 80-20 rule. You dedicate the 80% of your content to helpful or entertaining info and only 20% to direct sales pitches. All of you have gone for barriers and then you're busy morning and then somebody is actually asking for the mic, making noise and that might be the wrong place for you to pitch. I know sales are made, but you may not have the right audience and state of mind. Even people may not be ready to buy your promotions. Just educate people on what should they hear from you. So your expertise should be teaching customers how to solve problems. For instance, identifying quality materials like I earlier shared, especially where you're becoming a trusted expert. Okay. So make your customers like to buy from you more and more when they are ready, because they will know at any one time you're reaching out to them. But as a trusted expert, because if they know you're always telling them something and they've tried it and it has worked, they'll definitely be coming back to you over and over again. The second strategy is the community multiplier. So this strategy emphasizes the importance of building partnerships and leveraging referral marketing to grow your business. The first issue here is to look at partnerships. Please collaborate with local businesses that complement your business, which is called value neighbors. You're not going to, sometimes people are just competing and they're saying, but they're making sales, me, I'm not making sales. You don't know that one day, as you're supporting them, those very customers will actually be coming to you. For instance, if you're a baker, team up with a florist, because this sometimes go hand in hand. You can cross-promote each other's products to attract. You might attract the same customer. Today I'm picking a cake, tomorrow I might ask the baker, where can I pick from flowers, or I'd like to deliver a bouquet together with the cake. Can you support? If you're a valued neighbor to your person here, they will definitely reach out to you as a guy. If somebody needs something here, just roll and give us something for this customer. The second one is the incentivized referrals. So this involves creating a system that rewards customers for referring new clients to your business. I may not say that you give them money, but you will look through your business and understand that if I'm promoting and I have so many referrals, I can afford to give free discounts or free products to a customer who brings in accounts. And once you make it very clear, it's going to be very easy for you, people who are actually promoting your business, to know there's something in it for them, not in a bad way. Even some of them actually end up, saying, it's okay, I'm okay. But sometimes even find out of packaging it as a gift, because they will say, after all, I have given her customers I can. But if once you even package it as a gift, they'll know, yeah, this one is very intentional in what they want to do. Then becoming the helpful expert. You should position yourself as a knowledgeable resource within your community groups. Many of us are in groups, but we don't know even so much. Sometimes when people are posting and asking any bank on the line, any market on the line, and then you're inside there quiet. Sometimes you may just position yourself as an expert, and the next time they see your business, they'll know whatever you're talking about is actually very true. Even position yourself by providing valuable advice or assistance in local events, or even social media groups, which I've talked about. You become the go-to in that particular field. So make connections within your communities and foster relationships that can lead to mutual benefits and increased customer engagement. If you can take away anything, this summarizes the 3 points. The third strategy, it's a 4-step workflow. Building simple, repeatable systems. Many of us underlook this business are like, it's like a small business. There's something I actually picked. When you also we call many of these businesses hustles. No wonder we hustle to grow them. I got this message from somebody, I think in 2024, and I told myself never to call my business a hustle. It's as if I'm declaring it's a hustle. I'm going to, keep hustling every time I'm trying to make money. So the 4-step workflow is always to capture, respond, follow up, then audit. When we start off with capturing, gather the information or requests that need attention. Then take notes and record inquiries from your customers. I think about 2 months ago, there's a shop I walked into. I wanted something, but it's happened that the person in there did not have it. But they requested, do you mind me taking down your number? And I can assure you, last week or the other week, they called me to tell me whatever I wanted had actually been brought in, it was available. So you can imagine at that point in time, if they had not even bothered to look at me as a customer, because the instance is when you walk into shops, especially the retail shops, you ask for something, it's not there, and somebody tells you, we don't have it. And that's it. But have you bothered to say, maybe I can actually be able to get it and serve this? I can assure you, I keep referring people to that shop just by that gesture. Then after gathering your information, please respond and give timely responses. On top of giving the timely responses, ensure that the issue is resolved to the customer's satisfaction. If I've walked in and requested that I need a pair of shoes in maybe beige or in a nude or a red, if you're giving me timely response that it has come, let it be exactly as that. Otherwise, if you don't satisfy me, then I'll think you've just wasted my time. Because if I come back and then I find you've not given me what I wanted, then you've wasted my time. Also follow up to see, do they need any further assistance? That will keep you connected to the customer. And finally, audit. Don't think that audit is only for big companies. You also need to audit your processes. See what worked well for you. And secondly, identify areas for enhancement. If you know what worked well for you, that means maybe out of the 2-3 systems, there might be something that might not have worked well, but how do you actually ensure that this becomes a better process from what it was previously? By doing those audits. Maybe you've noticed that every time you bring certain items, customers are now requesting for something different. That means you need to revisit whatever you're stocking up. So those 3 strategies, just a recap. The first one, high impact organic growth. Second one, the community multiplier. And the third one, building simple, repeatable systems. This should be driving us without breaking our backs, because many SMEs don't have the money for advertising, for those big marketing budgets. As we are looking at those strategies, we must also ensure that we invest, but also check what is the return on the investment that we have made. Even in our digital space, I have so many followers, I have so many likes. Move those likes from likes to shillings. You're not going to eat likes, okay? You've invested, you've put capital in whatever products you've bought. So you need to get the shillings out. So as a business, you should prioritize actions and strategies that lead to actual sales and profits. How will you do this? First and foremost, understand the customer acquisition cost by getting what is that crucial metric that helps the business assess the efficiency of their marketing efforts and investments. What does it take you to acquire a customer? How much? Am I going to put on a foot soldier who keeps hopping from one shop to another? Am I investing $10, $20 on WhatsApp business for my catalog to be displayed? You know, to understand that this cost is very essential in ensuring that spending is effective in attracting customers who generate profit. You might refuse to invest in that foot soldier to acquire a customer, but you might be blocking customer acquisition in your space. And the second one is the one-page return on investment tracker. It should be very simple. It's just a tool, just summarizes your key financial metrics. You quickly assess the performance and then make informed decisions. If you know you have invested Maybe you have an influencer who is posting for you on the socials, and maybe you're paying them 100,000, maybe, or you're telling them for every 3,000 or 1,000 posts, they will be earning this much. Or for every sale they bring in, they'll be earning this much. Just look at how much are you paying that person and what return have you been able. How is your business growing? If you do an evaluation for the last 12 months, how are you progressing? If you have invested maybe give or take 500,000 over the 12 months, how has your business performed? Is it a worthwhile venture? So with that data, you can be able to make informed decisions. Then stop measuring vanity metrics. So vanity metrics are the likes, yet the actionable metrics are the ones that actually give you numbers. If a like doesn't lead to a WhatsApp chat, it's not a marketing chat. It is just a hobby. There's nothing for you in that. I know there are many reports that we keep displaying. How many followers? How many likes? How many? But are they translating into money? No. So that's where we now need to change the narrative. So as I conclude my presentation this evening, as a banker, we've seen many of the SMEs who want to grow, who want to become bigger than who they are. You need to look at scaling your business and growing it into a bankable enterprise, even with your small budget. So transform your small budget hustles into bankable enterprises. Sometimes you'll find that you're struggling because even in your space, not many people know about you. Because there are many partnerships, there are many things that we've done as banks that actually promote our customers. The events that we put together, we get different SMEs in one room. The instances where even somebody finds out, oh, I didn't know you're actually here. Sometimes people are asking themselves, where can I get this? When they see the room has suppliers, it has importers, it has exporters, it has guys who do stationery. You're in a very live environment where you know you're going to have space to be seen. So looking at the digital tools, they are really a force multiplier. Use your mobile and online platforms to automate operations, which saves you time and staff costs. Because if you're in a bank and we have already given you these solutions, you're not going to get somebody paid to move money to go and buy things from Chikobo, for instance. If you already have a supplier there, you will be sending the money directly via a bank account, which takes away even the risk of you losing money. Somebody's on a bike running downtown to go and shop. But also the call is on you to turn your daily sales into a data trail. Because once you are banking, we are able to see, even need to help you. You've seen many people who say, but the guy is always telling me, people are pulling drawers. So at the end of the day, the guy picks up 100K. You will not know because there's no banking that is being done. But if you know you're supplying certain guys or you're working with certain businesses, these guys will keep putting the money in your accounts, and then you'll be able to do an audit trail with your transaction history, which is also going to help you build your credit worthiness, even without traditional collateral. The second is financial discipline, just like the church and the state. Stop mixing personal and business funds. Sometimes, if I've been in those shops, someone says, somebody lost someone, we are trying to raise funds, the person pulls out a drawer, picks 500 and gives. It's somebody's wedding, we need to contribute books and gives. Are you able to separate the two? Get a dedicated business account that will allow you for accurate return on investment tracking, so that you know exactly how your marketing spend is performing. Otherwise, if you keep using those funds, you give the influencer, the guy comes around, there's something that I need to do for you, for instance. Then you say, hey, how much is it? you give him 50K. The next time he comes, you give him 200. No, but you see, this one is big. How are you going to actually get that performance if you don't have it? I mean, that if you don't have your money banked in an account for your withdrawals to be able, because sometimes the guy will even come back and say, no, well, last time you gave me only 100, yet in actual sense you gave him 200,000. The other is the advisory advantage, which is the intellectual capital. Get the business school insights you need without any cost. So as Cairo Bank will provide you guidance on ESG, tax planning, and strategic scaling, because many of the SMEs, I just want to relate to what is happening right now. We've seen many of those small businesses being cleared off the roadsides, especially for the main roads. There are aspects of ESG that are being put in. There are aspects of strategic planning. All those are being put in there. But you see, if you're a business that is actually formally registered, as a bank, we'll actually advise you. We can even help you acquire some of these assets that you are looking at. Starting small, we don't chase away anybody. Because you might think that the bank is for the big corporates. No. We take you in and solution something for you. Then also use your network. Access our ecosystem of valued neighbors that I had shared earlier to find partners and suppliers within the Cairo Bank community. As a bank, we are really valuing who you are. And as you're looking around, some of them even say, we are stuck, we need to get this from here. We will link you up with even somebody who imports. So choose banking so that you do not hustle by looking at somebody and then the address shifts. We've seen people who pay money and then they go back and the would-be supply is actually no longer there. My last remark is on a limited budget. You don't need a bank to hold your money, but you need a business that is going to ensure that you are bankable. So as Cairo Bank, we're providing you with these tools for today and the roadmap for your future. So call on us today. We are your growth partners. And I sign out by saying, Cairo Bank, growing with you. And we are in the space for small and medium enterprises. That is who we are looking out for. Thank you so much for listening to me this evening. So, look at your transaction history as an SME owner. Reevaluate and transform yourself from a ghost business to a formal business that is going to scale you and scale your growth. Thank you so much. Any questions? Any inquiries?
Wow. Before I open the floor for the questions, allow me to appreciate you. Thank you so much, Agnes. Guys on the call, I see the hand claps. Please join me in celebrating Agnes. Amazing. Thank you so much for that beautiful and very insightful presentation. And like you mentioned at the very start, many of us are doing the 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, but people actually do have something on the side that they are running as their daily, activity. And moving forward, I hope we can all stop calling them hustles, because with the help from Cairo Bank, we can actually scale up and make our businesses very bankable. So let it not be a hustle, but a side business. Yeah. So thank you so much, Agnes. And I don't know if people on the call can let me submit my questions first, or I let them go first. Let me see some hands up, guys. Who has some questions? If you can put your hand up, you can type it in the chat and I'll read it a bit later. Oh, I see we have a hand up. Yes, Andrew, you can ask your question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Andrew, you can unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, Andrew Lugura, that's my name.
Good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation, Agnes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, now you mentioned earlier about pricing in your catalogs. I personally, I deal in doing site work, building wardrobes, kitchenware, TV wall units, and sometimes I do interior concepts of living rooms, like giving you the entire living room and beds and sofas. So how do you record? What advice do you give me in pricing? Because most of the times it needs a quotation to give it to someone, and that person will come in the inbox and it's like, can I get the pricing for this? I want this kitchen, but it needs a quotation. It needs a 3D model at first. It needs measurements. So how would you advise me in marketing? Thank you.
Should I take as and when?
I
Okay.
think so. Since we have a few hands up, it's okay. You can answer Andrew, and then we'll wait for the others who are asking their questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andrew, for your question. It's actually a very, very good question, given that the nature of your work is actually one that may not require you to post a catalog with a price immediately. One thing I would advise you to do, I think you have actually been able to engage your customers at different levels. And as you're profiling or you're putting your business, can I call it a preamble, you're able to now just put a little more of you deal in this and this and this, and you will be able to price on engagement. Because the reason I say that is your products are not as the physical products that we would say, like jewelry, like shoes, like clothes, that are that are not cast in stone, but where the price can be determined there and then. Yours requires a bit of, not a bit, it requires you to measure, to understand the concept the customer wants. So I would recommend that you put it in terms of ranges, for instance, but also looking at if you have these customers where you have made certain concepts, you have actually built for them these particular maybe wardrobes, you've put their kitchens, and they can allow you to actually use their photos or their concepts. Then you can say, for instance, probably this is priced at this much. Reach out for us to come and not duplicate, but come and have something similar to you. But our pricing will be, given the final pricing will be given to you based on the engagement that we have. I've seen many people doing those wardrobes, those show racks. They're able to put a price range because sometimes you will be able to gauge bare minimum what the cost will be. But also don't shoot yourself in the foot where now a customer calls you and tells you, but you told me to cost me this much. So your preamble should be very, very clear as you're defining your business, so that somebody gets to know what exactly they should expect from you. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Agnes.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Agnes. And I can see Andrew is happy with the response. Do I have any more hands up? It's okay, members. It can just be a takeaway. It doesn't have to be a question. It can be an insight, something you've learned. You can all share. I see in the chat room, Miss Irene says, building simple, repeatable systems is my takeaway today. And that is so amazing. That was very powerful, Agnes. Thank you so much. Actually, before I get into my questions, I just wanted to share a very, very brief story of what happened to me earlier this week. And as you are presenting on building simple, repeatable systems, I felt like, oh, okay, I didn't know this had a system to it. So where it told us to gather information, provide timely responses, ensure that the issue is resolved, and then also the audit bit of review the process to see what worked. So we have a parents community as Aiwibi, where we encourage parents to share about, give us feedback on the products. Are you having any challenges? How can we support you here and there? And of course, we also have fun activities in there. So earlier during the week, a parent goes to one of the stores and then finds one of the packages was damaged on the shelf. She was very, very concerned, and quite frankly, she was scared. So she came on the community, and yeah, she calls me out and she says, I went to this store and this had this. I don't know if it's even genuine because I've been using ABC. And you could tell she was actually very concerned. So I actually did build simple and repeatable systems, but I didn't know it had a formula to it. So I followed up, found out where it really happened from, got to the store, found out, because at some point I thought maybe it's a different brand. But I told out, I can't rule it out. Let's get to the bottom of this. We'll come back with feedback. So I worked with my team to find out what really had happened. And to be honest, we were also surprised because these items were supplied in good condition, but anything can happen really. So we found it wasn't fake, but it was just damaged. So we talked to the store team and had them pull all the damaged pieces off of the shelf. And then we gave the customer feedback. She was so happy because she felt cared for, she felt understood, and she was really happy because she's always recommending people. So to feel like, yeah, you're not just here to take my money, you're just buying and taking, but you actually really care and you take my feedback like it matters. So thank you so much, Agnes, for that takeaway. So I don't really have any hands up. I'll ask my question, then read the takeaways in the call. So you mentioned about low-cost growth strategies, such as focusing on one platform, using WhatsApp as a sales engine, which is a very, very good one. But my question in that line is, what are some simple first steps that an SME can take, just this week to begin with? And then these steps can actually help them see some results from the approaches.
Okay, thank you for that question. And somebody who's starting out, first and foremost, find out what do you have to do or what do you want to do as an individual. Let me give an example. We've seen many people say, guys, this is what is trending, and then you also want to jump into that bandwagon. I would recommend first and foremost, if you want to do something, do you have the market for it? Okay. You might have a whole host of, maybe you have 2,000 contacts in your phone. Have you bounced ideas off some of the guys that you call your trusted people who will give you feedback as is, Even before you dive in, you're asking guys, what do you think about this? I was told, I'm not so sure, but I was told the owner of Hardware World, the name had gone out of my head. He used to be an employee of StanChat. Okay. So at that time when he was in the bank, he noticed many of his colleagues were actually building. They were trying to, they're in the bank, they are serving, and then they are calling guys at the hardware shops, calling builders, and then many of them would come back. Can you imagine? They didn't deliver the cement, they didn't do this. Then he just run and ask guys, if I do this, will you come support me? And I'm told he had a backing of his colleagues. And that is how he started Hardware World in a small shop, but eventually grew bigger. It helped even his former colleagues because now they had a trusted source. They would order for their items and make sure that the items actually being picked, and even there's a trail of how they are being delivered. So you as an individual, yes, first and foremost, use your WhatsApp to just throw in a bit of this and the other in a few of those groups you're in. Find out, what do you think? Even scan the market. What do you think our customers actually want right now? Even within your spaces, what do you think your colleagues are struggling with? It might be among people who are just leaving campus. Maybe they're into the age group of maybe giving birth. They are, transitioning. And you find that guys are always on the group saying, look here, guys, I don't have time to go to down there, or I need baby clothes, or I'm gifting somebody. You know, that's where many people pick from ideas, because now you have a market that has been created for you. Okay, so WhatsApp is the easiest, and I've told you there are times when you're in those groups, people are throwing in certain inquiries, they're looking for solutions, but you as an individual, look at what solution can you give to this person who has actually gone in and needs that help. Your community group is actually a very good example, which is supporting you as a business, because if the customer had not come on the group, I'm very sure you'd not have gotten to know where the issue was. 100%. You'd find people taking photos and then eventually captioned fake pampers without even not to you directly. You can imagine what it would have done to your brand. So as an individual, start small. Do not go massive, and I've said, and also keep to one channel. If you've said, let me start off with WhatsApp, it's the easiest. Keep in there until you still need to actually go to another channel without jumping from today. You're posting a TikTok, tomorrow you don't have content because someone is posting every now and then. You're always in your shop. But remember, even these guys you're living in, especially if you're in a corporate job, may not be the best. They might be there also to earn, and also we've seen employees making businesses out of their bosses' businesses. So it's a two-way traffic. Just scan your market, scan who your niche is, and then see how to serve them. I hope I've answered you so well.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. Yeah, so in the interest of time, because I know you people are tired, it's a Friday, some of you want to go for A or B, but I'll just ask my last question for the night, Miss Agnes.
Yeah.
So from the last point where you talked about the different metrics that we look at, what are those top 2 or 3 numbers that you would recommend in your experience every SME owner should track monthly to know whether their marketing is truly working?
Okay, thank you for that question. So the number one number they should track, how much are you putting in the business, or what was your capital, your initial investment? Even if you've started a juice business, let me take that as an example. You have bought the coolers, you have bought the stands, you have bought, you must find out. The first number is, how much money have I put in this business? The second number to track on a daily, what are my expenses? How much am I putting into this business on a daily? For instance, as we know, many people do you're serving customers over the weekend. If you do not have the daily ones who take the juice, you have these who are actually maybe taking you in for a wedding, for a baptism, for a birthday party. You need to know if you're pricing this customer, you've told them probably a liter is going to be 10,000. You need to know that the expenses that you're incurring, because you're going to have transport costs to the venue. You're going to have transport costs for the ingredients for your juice. You have employees, the labor that you're going to use for the event. Okay. When you add up this number, does it actually make sense? You need to look at that. And then the third one is where now you're looking at, if you're doing any marketing, how much money have you invested in the marketing space? If you have an influencer, because many businesses right now, as small as they are, somebody employs an influencer on their side to keep, putting the word out there. Okay. So look at your capital investment, look at your expenses, and then look at what are you paying out in terms of marketing, what return is it giving to you, and finally look at how much are you getting back in terms of net of everything. What profit are you making? It might be very little, but are you breaking even? You might be investing maybe 300,000, you're buying the oranges and the passion fruits, but then you're pricing these people and then you're not breaking even at all. So profitability is just another number that because you have invested and you need to have a return on that investment. In summary, those are the 3 numbers that you have to look at.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Agnes. That's very, oh, it's actually a discovery. I won't lie. I'm sure very many people on the call didn't know. Guys, don't lie. I know we didn't know. So let's agree that we have learned. Because some people, they invest the capital and then just leave it at that. Now they're just tracking expenses and profitability, but it's very important to know, where am I coming from? Where do I want to go? So thank you so, so much. Let me just read a few of the key takeaways in the chat and then I'll allow us to go. Trevor says, aiming at visibility. My takeaway is from the 2080 rule that our guest speaker has talked about. 20% for promotional or sales messages and 80% educational messages, helping clients to solve certain problems. Yes, we need to be problem solvers. Let's not be salesy all the time. You just want to make money. Yes, we all know we all set up businesses to make money, but then how do we make that money? By solving problems. As marketers, we are supposed to be problem solvers. So thank you so much, Trevor, for that takeaway. Obadia says, I like the concept of using one medium really well instead of being everywhere ineffectively. That's great. Thank you so much. That's actually another key takeaway for me as well, because it is true, especially as marketers. We know each and every one of us at a certain time, you have faced that question of, why are we not on this platform? Why are we not on this platform? Why are we on only this one? But if you can ably defend why you're on one platform and why you want to first grow it and utilize it before then you grow to another one, if there is need to actually grow, then you can actually have your team on the same page. So once again, thank you so much, Miss Agnes Pamela Mubiru, for accepting our invitation. Thank you for your beautiful and very insightful presentation today. We really, really, really appreciate you as Contivibe Media. Thank you so much for making the time out of your very busy schedule. We appreciate you. And before you go, I just wanted to remind each and every one of us on the call, especially those who have side businesses, not hustle, side businesses, that Cairo Bank is your partner in scaling SME growth. So for all of you who are interested in learning more about Cairo Bank services in that line, we'll be sharing Miss Agnes's email address and her contact with you in our WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group for Contivibe where we share the different recaps of this series and the summaries of the presentations and anything else that you'd like to know about this series. So we'll share this information on the group. The link is in the chat room. For those of you who have not yet joined, kindly join before you leave. Thank you so much, Miss Agnes. And to everyone else who's still on the call, thank you for making the time. We really appreciate you. And I hope that each and every one of us has taken away something today. However small, however light, however heavy, I really hope each and every one of us has taken. I was taking notes. I don't know if people are taking notes, but it has been a very, very, very insightful session. So thank you so much, Miss Agnes. Let us go and grow our side businesses.